To explain why I get all my clothes from humans, despite being an Acternan, I must first explain why I don't buy clothes made by anyone else. You see, just as pre-FTL sci-fi writers predicted, we live in an age of absolute abundance of products. I can guarantee that any shop I enter will be well stocked, regularly supplied, and reasonably priced. What they got wrong was that they assumed these products would be better than those of their day. Oh, sure, they are flashier, more sophisticated. I can go get a t-shirt with an inbuilt computer. Its parts deftly woven between the fabric to create a system outperforming the best handheld devices of my ancestors. Jackets come with inbuilt temperature adjustment systems, meaning you have a far wider range of climates to wear your favourite coat to. The ceremonial troops of our great republic, when on parade, wear boots that feature miniature repulsors, keeping them perfectly shiny, and never seeing so much as a speck of dust or dirt upon them. But there's one gigantic problem with all of them. They're not built to last. I'm serious. Those shirts, they last about 2 months of regular, non-particularly intense wear. The computers they weave in are utterly useless after that point. The fabric lasts longer, I guess, but you bought for the computer functions, not the shirt. The jackets, by God, they're wonderful. But once you go even a degree out of the recommended temperature range, the whole system is liable to irreparably break. And it just falls apart anyway. I guess the parade boots probably last well, but then the things I hear from my friend about how often he has to replace them. This isn't an accident. It's deliberate. Shorter lifespans for the things we buy means we buy more. Much more. When an Acternan's healthy life expectancy now clocks in well over a century, that's a lot of time to be purchasing. If you own a t-shirt factory, or whatever, you can be certain of stable business for decades to come. Sure, we all get mad about our favourite clothes falling apart, but we can still get replacements anyway, even if we're the poorest guys on the planet, so it all works out. Acacians, for that matter, are much better in that regard. Their problem is that everything is cheap and cheerful, as the humans say. Your clothes do last there, but there's very little else going on. Unsurprisingly, given that there's so many Hectatians and other species in the Commonwealth to supply with clothes, having a shirt is more important than having computers inside that shirt. Now, they're nice to wear, absolutely. They're not uncomfortable, they just lack those sorts of features you can get with Acternan clothing. Can't speak to species the other side of the line because, well, the line is in the way, but would happily guess it's much the same there. Although, and I've got to stress these are rumours, my low master's Trilaxian who defected. And he says a lot of their clothes just kind of fall apart all the time, and only the expensive stuff lasts. At this point, my human co-pilot started muttering about a guy called Vimes and his boots, which he refused to elaborate on. So where should you get your clothes then? Go to human manufacturers. That's the answer. This pair of boots I'm wearing right here? United Nations Expeditionary Army Surplus, which is a bit of a mouthful, I know. Of course, these aren't combat boots. Combat boots come attached to a set of battle armour and don't get sold to civilians. No. These are patrol boots, for when you're out of armour, and they make them for every species with UN citizens. They're resilient, they're light, comfortable, liquid-proof, and by God they're like a miracle. Shame I had to learn how to tie laces in order to use them, but it was worth it. It's even got the same repulsion technology to keep it clean, and that one does last if you don't run it all day like a fool. This jacket looks good and comes with all that temperature regulation stuff, plus the portable computer stuff. Hell, it even works on a wider range and doesn't irreparably break the second it goes a degree past the limit. And you best believe their vac suits kick the ass of every other model. There's some stuff there they get right that no one else thought of. My sibling's company is currently ordering 100 custom-fitted Law 9/8s, the ones with the gravity generators in the arms that bring stray floating items towards you. Plus the suits internally have gravity, so you don't have to worry about precious bodily fluids flowing where they shouldn't. I can say for myself, there's a tiny thing they do that's so astoundingly obvious, you can't believe it took that long. See, with flight suits, for pilots, there's a standard of 3 layers: temperature, pressure, and outer, with the last one being just there to protect the innards. Oh, and all the anti-G med dispensers, the bladders to squeeze you and force your blood about, and so on, that's all weaved in between. Now, the problem is, in every single species design, that outer layer is a thin skin. If you pierce it, say, to sew a patch on, you'll probably end up breaking some stuff. But if you're a human pilot, or a clever pilot like me, You buy human suits, and get an extra layer with which you can sew, pin, whatever, as much stuff on as you want. Turn yourself into a walking sign for every ship you've ever worked on, crew you've ever served with. I've got a patch for every time I've flown the Boranganov River Run, and just finished designing one for my current crew. Now, you're probably asking why they get all this stuff spot on if we all get it wrong. There's a few simple answers, really. First, there's less of them. A lot less. They got access to the technology and resources of a galactic power. The Hecatians, to be precise, with about 8 billion humans, when the average species only tentatively breaks the speed of light with a population north of 20 billion. In the 100 years since, they gained another 7 billion, plus like 10 billion non-humans in UN space. Compare that against the Hecatians, who have... I don't actually know, but it's gotta be at least 10 times that. No wonder humans can build so great, when they're using the same tech, but for far less people. You'll probably ask why they're not like us, Acternans then, if there's so few of them and so much production. Why they don't just have a load of shit that falls apart after a short while. Well, if you know anything about their history, you know about their Contact War, and the Second Hectatian War. 5 years apart, and the outcome is universally considered the greatest upset in galactic military history. To accomplish that upset, they built a lot of guns and tanks and planes. Civilian production dropped to a fraction, and what was made would only replace what was truly irreparably broken. In times like that, products that don't last when they could have are effectively a threat to the liberty of your species, and so reliability became king. Of course, nowadays it's not so dire, but the mindset persists. Even where it doesn't, there's never going to be action backwards, because who wants to be the politician that puts their name on the make your shoe shit again bill? The manufacturers are fine too, because they know people elsewhere in the galaxy will buy. But third, and perhaps most importantly, like any species, a lot of them really like to show off. They're just very good at coming up with new ways to do it. So that's why, when you're looking for stuff to wear, to drive, to use, there's only really one corner of the galaxy to focus on. And hey, if the fit I'm wearing now isn't endorsement enough, then I don't know what'll convince you to buy human.